Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into a genuinely fascinating Wired article featuring Demis Hassabis, the CEO of Google DeepMind. We're going to unpack his very direct, almost contrarian take on the future of coding in the AI era. If you've been anywhere near tech news lately, you know there is a massive conversation, and honestly, a lot of anxiety around what generative AI actually means for software engineers. Well, Hassabis has some incredibly powerful thoughts that directly challenge the prevailing narrative, and we are going to break the whole thing down for you today. So will AI make software developers obsolete? It's a question you hear echoing literally everywhere right now, from university computer science departments to startup incubators and massive enterprise tech hubs. There's this pervasive doomer narrative floating around that AI's rapidly accelerating coding capabilities will inevitably lead to massive, permanent job losses for developers. People are seriously wondering if the art of writing code is about to become a relic of the past, just totally automated away by advanced algorithms.
Section 1. The Truth About Developer Obsolescence.
All right, let's get into it. Because to really understand where Hassabis is coming from, we first need to look at the reality of why this fear is dominating the tech landscape right now. And, it's not just some hypothetical anxiety, it's born from actual market movements. The fear gripping the industry is grounded in cold, hard reality. Major tech companies, we're talking heavyweights like Amazon, Salesforce, and Block, haven't just been restructuring, they have explicitly cited AI utilization and efficiency as a reason for recent personnel cuts. When AI company executives themselves start casually mentioning the potential for massive job displacements, it's completely natural for developers to look over their shoulders. The threat feels incredibly real when you see big names making moves exactly like this.
But then we get this entirely disruptive counter-perspective from Demis Hassabis. Get a load of this quote. Why is everyone speaking about this with such certainty? I don't understand it at all. Hassabis is looking at the exact same technological advancements as everyone else, yet he is immediately shattering the assumption that developer obsolescence is a guaranteed unavoidable outcome. He even kind of hints that some companies pushing this narrative might have ulterior motives, like trying to raise capital by hyping up the promise of ultimate automation.
Section 2. A lack of imagination.
And that brings us to the fascinating core of Hassabis' argument, which he frames as a fundamental flaw in how many business leaders are viewing this new tech. He's incredibly punchy about this. He says, it's a lack of imagination, and it also means they don't understand what is really going to happen. He's effectively arguing that companies firing developers just because AI made them slightly more efficient are making a colossal strategic mistake. They're looking at a revolutionary tool and only seeing a way to trim the payroll, rather than a way to dramatically expand their horizon.
Which brilliantly illustrates the massive philosophical divide we're witnessing in tech right now. On one side, you have the cost-cutting mindset. It goes like this. Okay, AI does the work of 3 developers, so let's fire 2. But on the flip side, you have the abundance mindset, which Hassabis champions as the alphabet approach. His logic is simple, but honestly, it's profound. If an engineer's productivity increases by 3x or 4x, you don't reduce your engineering workforce by 75%. Instead, you simply tackle 3 or 4 times more ambitious projects. You take those freed up resources and point them at massive unsolved problems, things like advanced drug discovery or entirely new paradigms in gaming. You don't shrink the team, you expand the ambition.
Section 3. The Marvels of the Latest AI.
So, what's the actual technology driving this intense debate? To understand why productivity is projected to multiply so dramatically, let me introduce you to Google's latest model, Gemini 3.5 Flash. Delivered through a coding tool wonderfully named Google Antigravity, this model represents a massive leap forward. Google is pushing it as a state-of-the-art solution that offers top-tier coding and reasoning, but crucially, it does it at much higher speeds and lower costs than the competition. We're not just talking about writing a quick Python script anymore. The sheer scope of what these models can handle has completely ballooned. And that incredible speed unlocks what we call agentic capabilities. We are talking about highly advanced autonomous tasks. Number 1, converting massive, large-scale code bases from one language or framework to another, a task that would normally take human teams months, maybe years. Number 2, autonomously hunting down and fixing deeply embedded, super complex bugs. And number 3, and this is the truly mind-bending one, being trained to build an entire operating system from scratch. That is the staggering level of power now sitting right at a developer's fingertips.
Section 4. The Intensifying Coding Race.
But despite all these marvels, we have to look at the broader market context, because as powerful as Gemini 3.5 Flash is, Google absolutely isn't running this race alone. The competition in the AI coding space is fiercely intensifying. Let's ground this in some data, shall we? According to the 2025 Stack Overflow Developer Survey, Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's Codex are actually currently leading the pack in the developer community. Google's models are coming in third. So while Google is dropping incredible tools like Gemini 3.5 Flash and preparing for Gemini 3.5 Pro, they are still fighting incredibly hard to catch up and win over developers in what has become an extremely lucrative high-stakes market.
And to compete in that market, companies are aggressively defining new safety standards around these agent-based assistants. Take Google's new Gemini Spark as an example. It operates on cloud infrastructure and can access apps to do work for you, but its absolute key differentiator is safety. It operates with strictly restricted personal data access. This is positioned as a direct, much safer alternative to open-source autonomous agents, like OpenClaw, which, yeah, they're powerful, but they present way higher security risks. It just goes to show, the race isn't only about raw coding capability anymore, it's about building agents that enterprise developers can actually trust.
Section 5. The barrier to superhuman AI.
Now, let's take a step back from the specific tools for a quick reality check. With all these agents autonomously writing and translating code, there is a massive amount of hype right now about artificial general intelligence, or AGI. But what really separates today's amazing coding assistants from true superhuman AI? Well, Hassabis outlines the missing pieces pretty clearly. First, yes, we might very soon see AI rewriting its own code for self-improvement, and that is a massive step. But to achieve actual scientific breakthroughs, AI needs a much deeper understanding of the physical world. It's not enough to just push syntax around on a screen. Furthermore, it needs the ability to conduct real-world experiments. Until an AI can understand physics and actually test hypotheses in reality, we are just not at a superhuman level yet.
Which brings us to a very grounding limitation. Despite the rapid maturity we're seeing in coding, despite being able to convert entire code bases and squash bugs, an AI still cannot create a globally successful hit app or game entirely without human help. Like Hassabis puts it, there is still something missing. AI currently lacks human intuition. It lacks the creative spark, that deep understanding of what is actually fun, engaging, or useful to a human being. It cannot build the finished, polished, successful product in a total vacuum. It still needs us. So, that leaves us with one really big, final, provocative thought. If AI can't build the next big hit app alone, but it suddenly gives you the power of 4 developers combined, what are you going to build? If we reject the lack of imagination that leads to layoffs and instead fully embrace the abundance mindset Hassabis suggests, the future of development isn't obsolescence at all. It's unprecedented empowerment. The AI is the engine, sure, but you are absolutely still the driver. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this reframes how you look at the incredible tools hitting the market today. See you next time.